Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this emergency stream. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome to the King Leo Show. Let's make sure our audio's okay. How's everyone doing, man? Some crazy shit, man. Some crazy shit. I wasn't planning on coming on at all. Let me check here. The audio's okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. But all right, perfect. We're good. I felt I had a certain responsibility, however limited it may be, because I think that despite everything. This show is probably the most accurate in terms of analysis, not to pat my own back. That's also thanks to the viewers who help keep everything grounded. But I want to be incredibly and perfectly clear before we begin today, okay? We are in what is termed the fog of war. The fog of war means that we have literally no idea what's going on. If there is a matrix of perfect information and imperfect information, we are as far in the direction of imperfect information as possible. Robert McNamara wrote a lot about this. So there's going to be a lot of claims that we see that are going to be proven to be false in the future. And you should not be angry about it. It's just a nature of how these conflicts go. Everyone has their own interests. How you doing, Spring? Mossad agents caught before bombing other places, Qatar and Saudi Arabia. I do want to talk about that because even those claims, I'm not taking sides here. This is an analysis channel. Who knows? Who knows? This is the fog of war. This is when we literally have no idea what's going on. We can only approximate, and actually from what's being said, we can sort of figure things out possibly, but improbably. AI deepfakes came out at the exact same wrong time, says Spring. Yeah, the thing is, Spring, I am seeing on the European channels that they are reporting. This is going to be a much more interactive show than usual because we literally have to go online and see what we can find. We have to see here. Let me look up and see if in KSA there is any update because on the European news channels, they're reporting this and it wouldn't even be that crazy. Dude, this is crazy, man. I knew this was going to happen. First of all, let's start with this. Bahrain, for those that aren't aware, Bahrain is a Saudi satellite state, a monarchy with a majority, 75% Shia population, but the rulers are Sunni, okay? And they were in the Arab Spring, a major candidate for regime change. However, Saudi Arabia obviously cares a lot about Bahrain. It's a satellite state. It's important. And there was an attempt to remove the monarchy in Saudi Arabia as well during the Arab Spring, but it was very, very small. Thank you, Advanced Conspiracy Theory. And I saw that in Bahrain, they were starting to do protests again. What happened last time, and there's really cool footage, we can pull it up later, when it was the Arab Spring, 15 years ago. What happened was that Bahrain immediately, Saudi Arabia, after crushing their own internal dissenters, sent in American Humvees with Saudis riding it, okay? And they killed a bunch of people. So I knew as soon as these people started protesting, I saw a lot of Iran copers saying, this is a real revolution. They're going to kill you. And Saudi Arabia, this is a warning to you if you're in Bahrain. You shouldn't do this. Saudi Arabia has access to the best American weaponry on the planet. And not only that, they have proven in the war in Yemen that they are capable of hiring the best mercenaries from West Africa and Nigeria specifically to do all sorts of dirty work. So let's see here. I hadn't even seen this. This is 3 hours ago. Apparently in Bahrain, the Saudis already sent in the Humvees to put people down, which anyone could have told you, man. Like this is... You got to be very careful what you're doing. You got to be very careful. Let's see here. No audio here. Look at that. This is the best American tankettes. This is, dude, and the Saudis, maybe they're not the best fighters, but the ones that are going there, look at the Humvees. Literally Arab Spring again. This is the exact same thing that happened in the Arab Spring. They're going to massacre those Bahrainis, dude. You should not be doing this if you're in Bahrain. You're an idiot. And I'm not speaking from a political standpoint. It is from a point of self-preservation. The Saudi Arabians are not going to allow Bahrain to fall to the hands of the Shias, especially at a moment like this. Are you fucking crazy? Strait of Hormuz is closed. All right. But we have a lot to get through. I literally just saw that come up. First, I need to show you guys this, all right? A lot of you might be, you woke up and you were scared. You were going, is this the end of the world? Is this World War III? The Strait of Hormuz is closed. There's a lot of problems, right? However, what I told my producer this morning, who was, we were both kind of looking through it, as I said, what is this? What is the market at? And let's look. Let's start with the S&P 500. What is the S&P 500 at? What did it close at today? Okay, it's up 0.04%. 2 points. What is the Dow at? Dow, which is weighted, not by market cap, by share price, so it's going to have more drastic changes. Down by 0.15%. What is Bitcoin at, which is the most volatile asset there is? It is down 0.53%. This means, this is how you get real information in the fog of war, that the market has resolved in favor of the United States winning this war and energy disruption not being a major issue. I'm not telling you whether, I don't care if you agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. This is the sentiment. Is there, how you doing, Efra? Efra wants to check the Nikkei. Let's check the Nikkei. Let's check the Nikkei. What's the Nikkei at? What did it close at? Nikkei is down 2%. I mean, year to date, it's up 9%. We have not seen any gains erased that would put it underwater. We have not. This energy disruption idea, this idea that Iran is going to knock out the Strait of Hormuz, strike Saudi Aramco facilities, strike a European country, Cyprus, and they're going to disturb the flow of energy. As we know from Dune, the spice must flow. This is not how it works, dude. If it were a real issue, we would have seen a significant drop in the stock market. I learned this through my producer from Felix Zuloff, legendary investor, lives out in Naples. When Nancy Pelosi a few years ago landed in Taiwan and everyone was making a huge deal out of it, he said, hang on, check the S&P, it's fine. Nothing's going to happen. That is how you can stay ahead on these things. This is a leading indicator, as they call it in finance. So let's catch up with this page is okay, the AF Post. Let's see. Dude, I want to get to Netanyahu. Because he did the Lenny Bruce bit today. And Efra is saying that they will most likely destroy Cyprus. Well, but Germany and France have already said that they're coming in. And they're coming in on the side of the United States for the unprovoked attacks on the Arab countries that had nothing to do. They really fucked themselves up by attacking Oman, which was ridiculous. I don't know why they did that. This is like there's no excuse. The idea that, we have a militia with some independence that's going around and they make individual decisions. No, at this point, what you're doing is you're releasing a bunch of economic terrorists. And I'm not saying this in a way that's judgmental, but if it is no longer a matter of actually winning the war, rather of destroying the economic capacity of not just the United States, but the whole world, you're going to starve the world of petroleum. You are no longer a fighter in a war. You are no longer a warrior. You are now a terrorist. That is terrorism. I understand. Some people will say, the United States has done the same things. It's wrong. Agent Orange. You could apply the same standards to the United States. When you are attacking critical infrastructure for petroleum, you are attacking the nectar that fuels this whole world, the thing that turns every wheel on this planet. So whether you agree or disagree, man, like this is Iran's doing in terms of doing that. I really thought that was stupid. I don't know why they would do that. I want to go over here so we can do some boomer box, but nothing is loading. CNN isn't CNN is back. Yes. All right, let's turn on the boomer box. Let's see what they're reporting.
Boomer alert. Boomer alert. Boomer alert.
It's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining.
Mainstream media like Fox and even CNN competes for views by running constant 24-hour news cycles based upon fear, division, outrage, and panic, probably to sell ads.
I am so excited for this segment tonight, dude, because as we know, you don't learn from what they're reporting. You learn about what they're doing. MS Now, which I tuned into earlier.
Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State.
Rachel Maddow, before the show started. How you doing, Suzanne? Rachel Maddow was talking about ICE. There's a World War III going on. What is this, Telemundo? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you doing that? And so let's watch what MS Now is covering now. I was astounded at this woman. How is she saying this? This isn't live. It's not live. What is going on, dude? I think everyone is crashing the website that I use for news. So mad I was still on. All right, this one's crashed too, man. Everyone is trying to figure everything out. Weather. Do you see how insane this is? They are doing a break for the weather. It's a 2 minutes and a half left. This is World War III. This is something that you should be taking seriously in the minds of the people who their whole mission is to spike your cortisol. They're trying to make you crazy. And you look and everything is in the calm Obama era NPR voice. Everyone is completely calm. And you have, for any news, you have to go to European news or Twitter. And that was very similar to how it was in the early 2000s during the Iraq War. You had to read The Guardian to understand what was going on. I really want to see more about this Riyadh thing, man. Dude, this sucks, dude. No one's reporting this yet. I feel very lucky because I was able to visit Saudi Arabia before all this happened last year. I hate this. I hate this. Explosion. Yes, please. Let's show me the explosion. Here we go. Okay, so this is that. Yeah, dude, this is the. I want to see the actual footage. This is RT 2025, man. Where is the actual footage? Remember, this is the fog of war. So obviously, this is fucking fake here. I've seen this photo circulated a lot. That this is supposed to be the American embassy in Riyadh. And now I don't think this is even, if it's a false flag, as people are saying. Here we go. Here's some real footage, apparently. This isn't out of character for the Iranians, but also, I would say, for the world. Last year, no, 2 years ago at this point, I remember when the war with Israel and Lebanon was going on, they bombed, or no, in Syria, I'm sorry. I believe it was Syria. It was Syria or Lebanon, but it wasn't Gaza. They bombed the Iranian embassy. A lot of you forgot about that, okay? They bombed the Iranian embassy. And as someone who is maybe a bit of a pussy, you can call me that if you want. I'm not going to be top G over here. I was very taken aback by that because you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to bomb embassies. Embassies are the foreign territory of another country. You cannot do that. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. And that was always a standard of war, of diplomacy. You're not supposed to do that. The few exceptions throughout history have been, the SAS went into the Persian embassy in the 70s because it was taken over by radical Shia extremists, or when Fidel Castro went into the embassies during the Cuban Revolution, but that's a militant group. It's different. And this was a state actor, Israel, bombing an embassy. How can you do that? You're not allowed to do that, even if you hate them. So this is not even that surprising. It's not even that. Look at them. They're still doing the weather. This is ridiculous, man. No, they're back. Finally, let's see what's going on. What are they doing? Look at MSNBC. Look at what they're covering. Look at this crap, man.
Incredible video.
In heart-pounding moments high above the East Texas terrain, a pair of hot air ballooners were left clinging for life.
That basket is swinging and moving with them in it, and those gusts of wind.
Their canopy wrapped near the top of a 1,000-foot cell phone tower on
That's
Saturday.
NBC News. This is NBC News. A hot air balloon rescue. These people, dude, this is the first war in a long time that I see that they don't want you to see. They don't want you to focus on this. Look at this. This is complete. And this channel should be 24/7. Fuck you to the sponsors. We have people on the ground in Saudi Arabia. We have people that can get to that embassy. We have people that can go check this out if it's true or not with live feed. And they're covering this. That is the actual story, the meta story here. These people are not covering that. You should be. That is very important to look at. Okay? Great, crazy stuff, man. Let's check I don't know how MSNBC works these days. MS Now 1, will this load? This is fucking crazy, man. This is insane. All
Some
day.
fatal cancers, including lymph.
This isn't live. That is the main MSNBC channel. That is crazy. Let's see if CNN is back. CNN is back. Let's see. U.S. official, major attack coming in hours. Let's see.
Established. This is a war of regime change. At least it's sold that way sometimes by the administration. This is the kind of thing where clearly the American people and the American elected representatives should have had a chance to weigh in, and they haven't.
All right, look, so we have here a total clown show. All right, this is Abby Phillips' show, who's a tether. She's a tether. She's not black. But let's notice something important here. We have the clown of Cornel West, who I'm not a fan of here. This here is to play the heel. However, Cornel West is pro toppling the regime in Iran. However, Cornel West will always equivocate and give credence to the idea of our common humanity, brother. That is what Cornel West's role is. Cornel West is there to shuck and jive and to give a fake counter narrative. Now, what's important here is that, with the exception of Abby Phillips here, who has to distinguish herself as the host, these are much darker articles of clothing that are normally worn on this show. This show is usually a clown show of people wearing white, red. Notice the somber, boring tone. They're all wearing black or dark navy in the case of the head slave at CNN, Scott Jennings. Look at this stuff, man. This matters. You think that they're not, this is not even schizo talk, dude. This is how any television producer is going to think. Everyone here is dressed dark navy or black. Even Abby Phillips is choosing something darker. This is not a night for Scott Jennings to be fighting with Anna Kasparian over the latest retarded thing. Let's see what the house slave has to say.
Israel, there are some indications that some of the Gulf states that Iran has been attacking may join in, and so we'll see what happens.
They're defending themselves right now.
Yeah, and they should.
But in terms of the coalition,
but they support what the United States is doing. Is the point? So we're not just here with Israel and without any other political support or rhetorical support. That's number one. Number two, the president did release 2 statements over the weekend. Number 3, the Congress, I think, is going to debate
on social media
and vote. So is that?
Yeah,
Is that a problem?
Look, I think it is a problem that the president hasn't gone, he hasn't given a press conference. He hasn't, he hasn't really laid out fully what the strategy is. He's given probably over a dozen interviews over the last 2 days. Mm-hmm. And he's said contradictory things in almost every single interview. So there is a missing piece. What is contradictory? Contradictory is saying one thing in one interview and another.
What? Give me an example.
He said we want regime change. We don't want regime change. He said we know the people that were going to replace the Ayatollah. Then he said we killed the people who replaced the Ayatollah, so we don't know them. He said we want the people of Iran to rise up and free themselves and fight the regime. And then he said we're happy to work with the regime remnants if somebody emerges from the rubble.
He said that this could be over in 2 days.
This is a message to Iran. Military intelligence, man, they are going to source things from media, especially third world countries. They think that this is important. They have an analyst at every desk that's looking at something. When Abby Phillips says that everything the president has said is contradictory, and she's framing it as this epic battle with Scott Jennings, the top coon on CNN, what they're saying is, hey, you don't know what's going on, do you? This also plays to the American public to keep you in a state of distress, to spike your cortisol, to say there is no clear vision, no one knows what's going on. But it's also a message to foreign regimes where the contradictory nature of the president, the news media that is supposed to understand the country best, and the president himself, they've had 10 years with this guy, does not know how to read them. Do you think they really don't know how to read them? Do you think that CNN does not have sources inside the White House? Do you think that the White House is impermeable of leaks and plumbers? That they have plumbers everywhere? Nixon couldn't do it. You think Trump's going to be able to do that? They know exactly what's going on, and you don't, and I don't. But they are facilitating a thought process where you don't know what Trump is thinking, and Trump is contradicting himself, so he doesn't even have a clear game plan. It is all confusion. It is a confusion tactic. And it's very intelligent. This is where Western democracies really excel at. When you are able to diffuse responsibility and launder it through the press like this, where all of these people are individuals, it's very smart. And Abby Phillips here is playing the head of the Piers Morgan role, the wrangler, bringing everyone here, and just to cause more confusion. At least that's my reading. And Spring says, whose funeral? I like that one because the wearing the dark clothing, we've had at least 6 deaths so far that I'm aware of. But I would expect more mourning clothing in this, but we should also expect some celebratory clothing as things start looking up, because you want to guide the American people in a sense of somberness, in a sense of gravity, but you also want them to be a little bit optimistic about the future.
I think there are a lot of experts out there who study this stuff pretty closely and work with the United States military, who don't see any precedent for saying, oh, they're going to come out of this more moderate than they were before. They're going to abandon their ambitions to strike back against the countries that are attacking them. That seems relevant.
Of course, and you don't have to be a military expert to understand what's going on here. If we couldn't influence the path of a country's regime change with hundreds of thousands of troops, we definitely can't do it with 0 troops and 0 partners on the ground. And we tried this several times in the last 30 or 40 years, and it always failed with hundreds of thousands of people that we put in harm's way. And now we're trying to do it on the cheap with 0 people on the ground and 0 partners. And of course it's not going to work, and so we're basically breaking it.
Also, I would say, notice, I know this guy, dude. This guy's been on Bill Maher before. Notice how everyone on this panel tonight, with the exception of Abby Phillips, depending on you, is an ugly little freak. They are all ugly freaks. This man here is physically repulsive. I'm not commenting. If he looks maxed a little, if he got on Ozempic, he could lose 30 pounds. If he actually did his hair properly, this is all thought out, dude. These people are all ugly freaks. ACT's asking what words. I don't have any words filtered, sir. The chat on screen, I don't know how it's filtered. It does it by YouTube, but I have open comments. Just please keep it sanitary because, YouTube will be annoying. These guys are all ugly freaks. Look at this guy here. Or dull. These are people who are not designed to be interesting. There's no eye candy here tonight. This is literally designed for you to watch and be bored and just look at it and go, okay, yeah, this is pretty boring. I guess this war must be going pretty well. It's pretty boring. So, dude, this shows. Abby Phillips has had on attractive people, people who are more boisterous, people that are more interesting. And notice the silence of Cornel West tonight. And this man is normally on the edge of his seat, brother. Brother, let me tell you about love. That's usually Cornel West. And here he is listening, very contemplative. And even this woman here, man, just dull, nothing special, nothing interesting. This is very out of character.
Our government and authority accountable, and I understand that as well. However, when this administration believes that they don't want us to know which way they're going. It doesn't mean that they don't have a plan on the inside. It doesn't mean that they don't know their goals. It means that they don't want you to know where it's going.
But can I ask you, what would be the point?
I'm skeptical.
Yeah, what would be the, no. But hold on, I just want to understand. What would be the point?
Around in the dark.
What would be the point?
They have no idea what they're doing. There's no 4D chess.
Hold on, Jeff. Let me just ask you a follow-up.
I don't think it's 4D chess.
What would be the point at this stage? We're in the middle of bombing them into smithereens. What would be the point of sending, contradictory messages about the objectives of the strike? What are they trying to get out of the Iranians by doing that?
Because for an adversary, if you know where the U.S. red line is, if you know the U.S. where they're moving next, then you're going to always be a step ahead and you're going to know, okay, well, I could go this far.
But I don't understand.
And this is great Rumsfeld stuff, man, where they've acknowledged that things are contradictory. And now she is making you believe that there is a method to the contradictory nature of Trump's statements. Whenever we create a reality and you figure that one out, we've already invented 2 other ones, and then we're going to make more. This is why it's impossible to beat this country. This country weaponizes schizophrenia in a way that is unparalleled in the history of the world. In my view, I can't think of another country that's done schizophrenia better than the United States. Let's see, what is Fox doing? What is Fox News doing? I'm sure it's going to be great. What's Fox News got going on?
Using Ashwa reduces stress and anxiety, improves.
If not, we can go, where else can we go? CNN, Fox.
Generation.
Okay, this is live. We'll come back to it. Let's continue on. I have a lot of stuff saved from today. It's going to be interesting to watch, man. I didn't even have time to organize. I just want to get on here, all right? So let's get through it. Firstly, let's play this. Let's play Dave Smith, my least favorite person. My least favorite person. Remember, before I show you this, Dave Smith called Donald Trump a blood-soaked warmonger in 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then suddenly in 2024, our libertarian your shining knight. That he got dragged into the dirty world of politics, and he endorsed Trump, and he said you had to vote for him. He said he was the anti-war candidate, that he was going to keep you out of war with Iran. He voted for him. He suspended his campaign for president. He was going to run for president, Dave Smith. He said it wasn't related, but who knows? And now this is really, dude, man, Douglas Murray, I may not like the guy, but he was cooking. What have you ever been? He was cooking. He was cooking. Let's listen to this man today. What does our most consistent man in the world have to say today?
Fuck JD Vance. Fuck Marco Rubio. Fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump has made his bed. Like, this really is it. This game where there's Tucker Carlson and there's the majority of his base and there's Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly and, you know, whatever. Donald Trump chose Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yes, retard. He was always going. Guys, I've told you before, never. I learned this the hard way in like 2020, maybe 2020. Never bet against Bibi Netanyahu. He will not lose. I'm not telling you whether that's good or bad. I'm telling you how it works. You can have your own theories about why it works that way. I don't care. And personally, I'm not a pocket watching, cock watching player hater. I like to understand the world as it is, not the world as I would like it to be, in the words of Mark Carney. Okay? That is how the world works. And if this guy who had 20 years of political experience with the podcast, who is still 20 years old at heart because he's protesting this war the same way they protested Iraq. How did that work out, protesting Iraq? Did it work out? Did it work out? It didn't work out, actually. He had to elect Barack Obama, and then he was forced to do it. Who knows why? Okay? You are the most naive, stupid person in politics if you did not see this coming. It was so obvious, man. And I'm not telling you to judge BB or whatever. That is up to you. That is your opinion. I'm giving you the analysis. The man does not lose. And the fact that this man over here could not see it really how can you take this guy seriously? How can you? How can you do this? This is not a serious person. Oh, thank you, Advanced Conspiracy Theory. Let's get some air horns. Advanced Conspiracy Theory sent 5 gifted memberships. Really appreciate you that. Thank you so much. I know that's a donation. I didn't know that before. I really appreciate that. By the way, guys, tonight, if you want me to read the chat, especially you, Ephra, because I like, you don't really do it, but it'd be great if you did. Guys, please tag at King Leo Miami like this so I can be sure. Let me do that. Like, do this and then write the message. That way, I'm sure to see it. I want to hear what everyone has to say, but I know we have some offenders here, and I don't mean it in a bad way. Like people that are saying interesting stuff, but they don't really tag. But just because this is a kinetic night, we don't have a lot of. We don't really know what's going on. This is the Fog of War episode. Let's continue with Dave Smith.
The most discredited, evil laughingstocks on the planet. That's who he chose to go all in with. So he's made his bed. Let him sleep in it. I hope the Republicans lose the midterms this year. They need to. For the country, they need to be and no one.
Why don't you take a big step back? A huge step back and reassess everything. You were just proven. You told people to vote for Donald Trump. You said that that's what needed to happen. You said we needed to legalize comedy, that we needed to stop censorship and stop the wars. And you were proven completely wrong by your standards, not by mine, by your own. And you're going to tell people how to vote again? How about you grow up and you sit back and take responsibility?
From this administration can be supported in 28. Fuck JD Vance. Fuck Marco Rubio. Fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Fucking, she hasn't resigned yet? Fuck Tulsi Gabbard. Dude, the goddamn no war with Iran shirts that she was selling. How much money you make off those shirts, Tulsi? How can you not return?
How much money did you make off telling people to vote for Trump? How much money did you make off then immediately doing a heel turn and saying he's a pedo and the Epstein thing? I'm not saying whether that's true or false. The idea that you're going to use money as the metric, how much money have you made off of this, Dave Smith? It's all part of the game, player. It's all, dude, to quote The Wire, man, I have the gun, you have the suitcase. You're part of the same game. Where is this holier than thou shit coming from?
Earn that money.
All right, ridiculous. All right, let's go back over here, man. Let's see if Fox News is back. Ridiculous, like just insane. The Spring says libtards and libertards. Yeah, I can't stand these fellas, man.
Concerning Khamenei's death, there are reports of many Iranians who are privately celebrating in their homes, scared of the regime's paramilitary forces that are now out on the streets. Sean, the reality is that there is real hope and joy in Iran, but amid an internet blackout and obviously an ongoing war, there is real fear as well as to what comes next. Sean.
This is their opportunity. Brian Yanis, thank you for that report. Joining our coverage now is attorney Elika LeBron is with us. Elika, good to have you back.
This lady is retarded. I don't care if you guys hate Iran. This lady is retarded. I knew Fox News would be more of a circus. She's like the worst spokesperson for bringing down the Ayatollah, for bringing down Maduro, etc. Like most of her information, she's a famous singer's daughter. Most of her information is factually incorrect, and it's very funny to watch this. So I didn't expect this, but thank you, Sean Hannity, for making this a clown show. They have to be more festive over here because I mean this is the war Fox News have wanted for 20 years.
Of the untouched Western left who have never had the experience of totalitarianism or tyranny, who have never been.
No, man, come on. Come on, did everyone tune in to watch Elika LeBron? This isn't fair. This isn't fair. This is the funniest person on Piers Morgan.
Sudden decide to speak up for the first time to say stop killing kids. You know, you have.
Come on, dude. I'm on Ethernet, man. I'm not on Wi-Fi. This literally is too many people on the website. It's literally that. Fuck, man. If anyone has any streaming websites that they know to get all the news channels. Damn, dude. How am I missing this? This sucks, man. Efra says,
except by autopsy. We asked them to speak about Serena Esmailzadeh. When her mother found her body, she hanged herself from her ceiling fan. Okay? Where was Stop Killing Kids then? Back then, they were Helen Keller. They were Helen Keller, and now all of a sudden that they think that a backfired rocket hit a school that they can blame on Israel or the USA, all of a sudden God has given them the gift of sight and sound. They're no longer mute. Now they can speak up to say stop killing kids. I tell you, it is not just an insult, it is depraved. It is depraved to weaponize our children's bodies for your own political agenda just because you can use them. You can use these children's corpses.
This is to get like every boomer horny for war here. I know we have a lot of woods in the chat, man, as we usually do. Let's be clear. You know what Fox News is doing here. Yeah, you're not inviting the daughter of a famous singer, probably in her she has to be in her mid-30s, for no reason during the war, man. You don't go to Hooters for the wings. You don't go to Twin Peaks for the food. You know what Fox News is doing. You know what they're doing. And I'm not saying that Elika LeBron isn't intelligent, although I haven't seen her say many intelligent things. And it's not because I disagree with her or agree with her. I just don't think that she's a factual source of information. But yeah, Efra says, randomness is the reason why no one can take over the world. It's something that I know deeply but hard to explain in a simple way. Entropy will always rule. With that basis, I think randomness defeats BB. Defeated BB. Okay. All right. I'm curious to see how he was defeated. Efra, please expand on that. I'd like to know more. But I do agree with you on the basis of entropy. That's why this planet's too big to conquer. But I do think with technology,
saw them take them into the terror tunnels, and then when Israel retaliated, just like you said, as any nation would.
Fuck, dude, this sucks, man. But as I was saying there, the best segment, man. Look at what she's wearing to Fox News, by the way. Look at what she's wearing. Do you think that someone who was introduced onto the show as an attorney, if they wanted to be taken seriously and people to focus on their words, would dress like this? And it's not a sexist comment. If a man showed up in a tank top on Fox News, buff, jacked, total hunk of a man, and started talking about it, do you think they want the ladies to listen to his words? Or do you think they want him to look at something else? Okay. A guy shows up in gray sweatpants, no underwear, a tank top on Fox News to talk about the Iran war. You think your young ladies are going to be focused on his words? But as I was saying, Ephra, I do think that you're right. But with technology, I think we will come to the closest possibility of total world domination by the Americans in particular. I'm reminded,
and bad. That balance.
And with commercials.
We live in hell. We live in the gutter.
On the night it matters, this is what they do to me. What they do. Not fair. Let's see. That's Fox. What else have we got? Let's watch OAN. One of these more radical ones. Or should we do Newsmax? You know what? Let's watch Al Jazeera. What's Al Jazeera saying right now? This is a good one. Al Jazeera, for anyone that's unaware, Al Jazeera is not some cutie little thing. Al Jazeera is a Qatari news outlet that is state propaganda. They were responsible for the Arab Spring and for the importance of Osama bin Laden. They are the people who interviewed him and gave him a lot of fame. Okay, so expect a pro-Qatari bend, but at this point, I think there's no Qataris in foxholes, dude. They're all Arabs now. They're all Arabs again. As UAE, Qatar, they're all Arabs.
What should happen on the ground to end the war? That, as well, is not clear at this stage.
James, it's Trump's allies in the Gulf that are bearing the brunt of this right now. What is it that the Gulf countries can do from a diplomatic point of view to reduce the escalation at this point?
Well, I think oddly, they're getting very upset with Iran. They had good diplomatic relations with Iran and had urged diplomacy before this. But actually, on this one point, I think the nations in this region and Iran are hoping the same thing might happen, which is that the economic effects of this are going to bring the rest of the world in to bring some leverage on President Trump to stop the continuation of this war because of the effects it's going to have on the oil price, on the gas price, on the financial markets around the world, potentially inflation rising again. As I said, I think those...
And sorry, James, to interrupt, but on that point, we are already hearing that Donald Trump is expected to meet with the Secretary of Treasury and the Secretary of Energy later this Tuesday. So clearly, there are voices in his ear saying, this is a problem now.
Yes, it is a problem, I think, because the economy, when it comes to US elections, is issue number one. And there's a very big US election, the midterms coming up in November. If he loses the House then...
Look at that. European gas prices up nearly 45%. As halt to LNG production. Dude, Europe is the region that's going to take the brunt of all of these wars. It sucks, man. It really sucks. The sound is censored.
In itself, ahead of the military action, was not a popular thing to do.
James, it seems like a long time ago, but it was only a few days ago that we were having these indirect talks between the...
You guys hear this? Spring says, John Taka, that guy is fire. This is a very serious appeal here. I think it's very telling that they're focusing on the effect on economic markets because that's really what Trump cares about in a lot of ways. And that will be, that's why the Iranians are attacking economic centers of economic importance, whether they be the Aramco facility, closing the Strait of Hormuz, or tankers. It's because they know that that's the pressure point that Trump is not willing to take. But I also have a theory that it's possible that what happens here is that Trump comes even more dug in here, because you cannot have a nation that holds people hostage. Oh, I see. Advance. All right. You cannot have a nation that holds the people hostage, because the Strait of Hormuz is important. It's because I think it's 75% of the petroleum that comes out of the Gulf comes out of the Strait of Hormuz. Even though, in theory you could do the Red Sea, but it's at a very far distance. They should build more pipelines to get around that. I'm surprised that the Saudis hadn't done that. But I guess they're doing the Agenda 2030 thing. And the ground transportation is incredibly expensive. So I guess Europe's really gonna struggle here.
Objectives are, but it's President Trump who will decide when this is over and when he will, as almost certainly knowing President Trump, when he will declare victory, whatever the outcome.
It's good you mentioned China on the energy front, because obviously they will be affected by the oil situation. But we haven't heard very much from other global powers, especially Russia, for example. What are they thinking here as this crisis evolves?
It's very telling that they're focused on economics, man. Because I saw that Ephraim mentioned it. This is a huge publicity bomb for the Gulf countries. This is very bad for the Gulf countries. Spring says John Taka, that guy is fire. Who's that? John Taka. What is that, sir? Please elaborate. This is very, very disappointing for the Gulf, especially for the Emirates. They were supposed to be safe, right? Even I assume. Well, I mean, it's a completely different situation. But Kish Island off the coast of Iran, was supposed to be this neutral zone. This area is fucked, man. Would you feel comfortable knowing that this is a possibility, unless they literally remove that regime? You will never feel comfortable in Dubai, in any of these places again, unless they go all the way. So, all right, let's see what our updates are on the actual. Again, remember, guys, this is the fog of war. We don't have much planned. We have to literally see what's happening live. What do we got here? Okay, so let's watch this clip here. This is Sean Hannity earlier, because there is a theory going around. Well, not a theory. Marco Rubio confirmed it, but again, it's the fog of war. You don't know if this is true or false, where he says that the reason the United States joined the attack against Iran is because Israel was going to launch an attack on its own, which is actually very reminiscent of the Cold War, because a lot of people think that the Soviet Union was in charge of Cuba, but I have a revisionist version of that history where Cuba was actually running the Soviet Union. And you can really see the example of this in the intervention in Angola, where Cuba, the only reason the Soviet Union joined the intervention in Angola that Cuba famously did, and they led it, is because Cuba told them, we're going to do it with or without you. And the Soviet Union said, you're not going to do that with or without us. And they said, yes, we will. So the Soviet Union went in first to save face. But after that, they never cut Castro off again. You can confirm this in the book Conflicting Missions by Piero Gligizi. It's the only guy who's had access to the Cuban archives, which is a very ballsy move by Fidel Castro. And if this is true about Mr. Netanyahu, however, who knows what they're actually saying? Who knows what actually happened? It's a very ballsy move to say, hey, we're going to make the move. You can join us or you can get left behind. And obviously, you're going to have to lead unless you're willing to completely destroy your ally. But at the end of the day, people posting it uncritically, who knows what this is? You don't know if this is someone saving face. You don't know if this is the United States telling Israel to say what we're about to watch on Sean Hannity. You don't know if Israel's telling the United States, hey, you should say this in order for things to be smoothed over with the Arab partners. Or even, you never know, with Somalia. Somalia needs to be on the up and ups right now, and they're already pissed at Israel because of the Somaliland recognition. You have the Strait of Hormuz closed. You want the Horn of Africa being under attack too? You don't know what the reason is. So let's watch here what Mr. Netanyahu had to say. The smartest man. Let's see if he's doing the Lenny Bruce impression.
You know, there are people that say, well, the Prime Minister of Israel dragged on.
I think when he does this face and sort of like when he has like a rigid pose, because when he's somber, he's more like fluid. But when he does the rigid pose and this, like, he's not smiling. It's like the Mona Lisa. He's like, that's when he does Lenny Bruce. Let's see what he has to say. Yeah, I don't know when he started doing that, man. I want to meet an Israeli that can tell me when he started doing the late night 70s comedian bit.
You know, there are people that say, well, the prime minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one, but I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world.
You know, there.
Dude, he's doing a bit. He's doing a bit. That's crazy. He's teasing everyone in this country. He's looking at every person who's anti-Israel in this country. And you're free to be that. I don't care. This is not my country. I don't have anything to say about it. But he's literally taunting you. He's doing it. We're missing the badumts. Like, let me pull it up. Let's do it here, actually. I have it here on this screen. We're gonna play that, and then I'm gonna play it here. Because that is literally what BB's doing. BB is just fucking ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Badumts. We need that on the soundboard for whenever we're talking about him. 1 second here, everyone. All right, perfect. It's muted. Let's listen again to BB right here. Let's listen to this.
You know, there are people that say, well, the prime minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one, but I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world.
How does he do it? I swear, he has to be related to Lenny Bruce. He has to be. How does he do that? I pointed this out to a friend today. I said this about BB. I was like, dude, he's a nightclub comedian. I showed them a clip of Lenny Bruce, and they're like, holy shit, he sounds just like Lenny Bruce. He's crazy. My God, dude. It's a great taunting, man. It's taunting everyone who's against Israel in the United States. And I think that should probably tell you that if you are explicitly anti-Israel and you're going to post this and say he's making fun of the president or whatever, this is doing something that benefits Netanyahu. I'm not telling you what your position should be or shouldn't be, but if Benjamin Netanyahu is comfortable taunting and looking for certain responses, looking for that heat-seeking missile, you should be aware that there's probably someone benefiting there. How you doing, I and everything, Trump? Stop glazing me, beef. How you doing, Mr. Elu? All right, let's see here. Let's watch here. This is not an endless war. I haven't seen these yet, guys. This is emergency stream. We're watching it. Fog of War stream, okay? Let's see what he had to say here.
Well, you're right. I did have spoken about it for decades, and I try to persuade successive American administrations to take firm action. And President Trump, in his first term, did. He got out of the disastrous Iran deal right off the bat, and he did everything he could to prevent them from going into the nuclear program that they seek to build atomic bombs to threaten us and you, and ultimately to attack both of us and to destroy as much as they can, because this is what these people do. They basically are.
He's laughing. He's literally laughing as he's speaking. You see what I'm saying, right? Whenever he's talking, it seems like he's about to burst out laughing, and you saw a little bit of here. I don't know if it's like, dude, I'm being interviewed by the dumbest retard in the country, Sean Hannity. I can't take it seriously.
As much as they can, because this is what these people do. They basically are in the business of mass death, and you're right to call them a death cult. I worked with several presidents. I always appreciated the fact that we had, forthright discussions. Often we agreed, but often we disagreed. And I appreciated that we kept the alliance going. But I want to tell you something. I'm not a youngster, so
I want to tell you something. That's literally Lenny Bruce. And I got to tell you guys something tonight. He's doing the voice. He's doing the whole. I'm not a youngster. Dude, this is the craziest shit. It's not Seinfeld. It's not 90s. Because a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, like, you know, they'll just go like, oh, the Jewish thing. No, it's a specific 70s nightclub comic. I know Lenny Bruce was Jewish. This is not Seinfeld or Louis C.K. This is very specific to the period where The Godfather was in theaters. This is crazy.
Been around. There's never been a president like Donald J. Trump. His resoluteness, his decisiveness, his clarity of thinking, the way he gets right to the crux of things. It cuts through all the fluff, cuts through the chase, gets down to the main point, and it gets down to the main action that needs to be taken. And I think for Israel, and I think for the countries of the free world, let me tell you, I think for the world, we're very lucky to have him as the leader of the free world, and in fact, the leader of the world. He's brought America back to being the leader of the world, and it makes a huge difference. And I can tell, I'm talking to America's allies in the region, just one by one by one. And I can't quote from these conversations, but I can tell you they all share this, and they all say, thank God that Donald Trump is here. Thank God that the two of you are acting together to remove this threat, not only to you, but to us.
My God, dude, this guy's unstoppable. Let's see what Megyn Kelly, and we'll go back to the boomer box, man. I Hate Everything says, I've always been critical of military spending, but after seeing the 2 military operations, the neocons might be right. Are you telling me, I Hate Everything, that you are guided by the beauty of our weapons? Are you guided by the beauty of the invisible plane of the F-35? We have some AI telly to watch, by the way, a little later. They put out a great video today. Are you new to the channel, Jasleen? I see you there confused by our sense of humor. All right. Let's see. I guess we should watch this, man, because let's see what the very serious... This is what I'm telling you about these clowns, man. Listen. If I came out here tonight and I wanted to have a serious show with you guys, and I came out here and you could see my whole body, and I'm wearing the tightest pair of gray sweatpants with no underwear. My 8-pack abs are out. My giant pecs. I'm covered in Diddy baby oil. And I start talking to you. What am I doing here? I'm trying to make you a homosexual if you're a man, okay? And if you're a woman, I'm trying to get you to think about something. Megyn Kelly, I haven't even seen this yet. The summary says U.S. soldiers are dying for Israel's war on Iran. She is Megyn Kelly, who's usually dressed like a school teacher. Sometimes she comes out here with the Cleavage Machine 9000 to show her tits while she's talking about our soldiers dying. Something tells me that despite the dark color and fabric, you may be thinking about something else and be trying to inspire something else in the boomer men that watch this show.
Look, there are massive divisions over what we've done here, and people are going to change their minds over the coming days and weeks, one way or the other. But my own feeling is no one should have to die for a foreign country. I don't think those 4 service members died for the United States. I think they died for Iran or for Israel. I think I understand how this helps Iran perfectly well. I get it. I mean, I hope. Long term, we'll see. But they seem rather jubilant. 80% of the country does not support the Ayatollah. He was a terrible, terrible man. No one's crying that he's dead. No normal person. But our government's job is not to look out for Iran or for Israel. It's to look out for us. And this feels very much to me like it is clearly Israel's war. Mark Levin wanted it. It's his war. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson. That's obvious. They're the ones who've been pushing us into this.
I'm at a loss for words here, man. This is the same woman who said we should torture people to death. That we should, she didn't say this, but she was saying this, that we should be castrating drug dealers and watching them bleed to death. Is now making an appeal for humanity with her tits out. I'm here with my titties to tell you. This is the schizophrenia capital of the world, dude.
Well,
Let's see if there's any updates here. This is a pretty good news aggregator, man. This reminds me of, well, I never experienced it firsthand of like what Drudge Report was. All right, nothing new, man. Let's go back to the Boomer box and see what's going on over here. So we got Al Jazeera. Do we go to the serious stuff? Do we go to CNBC and Bloomberg? Probably should, to see what the serious people are saying. These are going to be financial news. They're important.
Note that the U.S. State Department actually put out a notice to their citizens across most Middle Eastern countries, warning them to depart now, urging them to depart now. And of course, this becomes a little bit problematic given that most of the ways of leaving the Middle East have been suspended, with the airports not operating in full capacity. It is estimated that over 300,000 passengers have been left stranded, many of those expats looking to leave the region, given the advice that's coming through from the State Department. But
and look at the financial markets, man. Look at the futures markets. They're not even bad. They're not bad. The dollar is doing fine. It's a marginal movement. This is not really affecting the. I don't know if you guys can see the chart. Yeah, you can see the charts here. This is it's not that bad, man. Even cryptocurrencies, which are the most volatile, down 1.5%. Bitcoin. This is all right. All right. Let's go back to CNN. And everything says if Abby Shapiro is happy about this, then I have to be happy about this. Mr. Elu says, what about oil and gas? Oil and gas are up. Let's look it up, man. Oil barrel. Dude, what is the acronym again? Let's see what it's at. Crude oil on the day. We're at $72 a barrel. Started the day off at 67. Peaked at... No. Wait, no. I'm sorry. I want to go to the 1 day. 1 day, please. Let's put it in minutes. Oil is at $72. Well, actually, no, that's actually helpful. Let's actually see over the year. Oil is peaking. It's getting to the same level as it got to in June 20th of 2025. Was that the time of the 12-day war? 12-day war, or was that May? 12-day war. Let's see. 12-day war was... No, yeah, it's about the same price, yeah, as Iran war, man. Makes a lot of sense. Literally the peak of the Iran war last year. Oil's gone from, at the start of the year, let's see, in January, we were at $54 a barrel. Now it's at 72. The thing is that, and this is why I think the markets aren't even reacting that insane, that's not bad for American production. Listen, a lot of people don't realize that fracking, which was our strength for a long time, it is not as efficient as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. You can get a lot less. It's a lot more intensive now to get the remaining oil out. Even though the U.S. is a net exporter, it is more expensive to get oil out of the ground here now. So having oil at $80 a barrel is probably better for the American market. And in addition to that, you have Venezuela now. You have secured a whole other oil site. So, the USA is still a net exporter. What is the issue for the Americans? How are you doing, full hat? This is a blessing. All right, sir. War can be, I guess, good somehow. Efra says, of course, the U.S. financial system adapted to thrive in chaos, financial trickery, but eventually gravity kicks in. This is why I meant look at the Nikkei. But the Nikkei is not too down, Efra. The thing is that the U.S. market is still responsive to things that actually matter. In the sense of when Liberation Day happened, it tanked the market. And Trump had to cuck for that to get better. That's why he canceled it. So they're still responsive on this. The Nikkei is opening. Is it open? Yeah. What time is it in Japan? It's like, it's 11 a.m. It's open. And it's down 2% on the day. Not that bad. But I understand what you're saying, Efra. I see we have a new person, Solo Dolo. Like, comment, and subscribe, Solo Dolo. Solo Dolo, what are you saying here? USA is going to have gasoline scarcity. I hope not. I sincerely doubt that, sir. I don't think so. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us to have, especially with Venezuela there and having a heavy crude refinery in Texas, in addition to Canadian oil and American oil as well. It's not going to be a walk in the park to get gasoline scarcity. It's going to be very, very difficult in the United States. I'm sure we'll see the gap up in some way, but yeah, even with that, I expect to see in some states like California, if they can afford it, they would do a gas holiday tax. But Iran is blocking the path for goods to flow for the entire world. They're blocking the Strait of Hormuz, right? Which is where 75% of the oil in the world goes through. However, I mean, India is still selling Russian oil. And I mean, that's another question, actually, because that's a good point, Solodolo, where Russia now has to guard its oil more carefully now that Iran's out of the picture for them. Interesting stuff. But I don't know. I don't think the Strait of Hormuz, I think it's blocking the Strait of Hormuz in a lot of ways can cause the world to dig in their heels, just like attacking Cyprus caused Germany and France to join this. This is a war where I think to the average diplomat or something that's not European, they're probably saying we need to crush these people because they will make our lives hell for the rest of time. They will not allow us to launder money through Qatar, to the Emirates, Saudi Arabia anymore. The United States uses that financial system as well. That's where they deposited the Venezuelan oil money in Qatar because of the sanctions on Venezuela, as well as the debt owed to China. So when you see that, you know, it's ridiculous. The idea that we can allow for a country to hold people hostage, to terrorize and bombard other countries that are important to the financial stability of the whole world. That there is no argument for that, in my opinion.
They were very clear about their objective because Marco Rubio was on today, and the Secretary of State.
I don't know why this keeps gapping, man. This sucks. Right, and Russia's making a deal with Ukraine, as Mr. Elu points out, which doesn't surprise me. Because you're right. At this point, they're gonna feel a pinch from this. They're gonna feel a pinch from this, dude. And like you said, they can get money directly now, as opposed to selling through India. If Europe allows Russia to sell. All right. Well, I don't know what's going on, man. What if we go to another country? How about that? Let's check what we got to go to an English-speaking country. See what the UK is talking about. Let's watch. The Boomer Box goes international. What's on the UK? What's on the UK? Oh, it's over here. Interesting. Dude, I don't know how the BBC works. All right. Then you know what we're going to do? We're going to go over here to AI Telly, our old friend, because I want to show you guys the video they dropped today, which explains how they actually got the guy. No, not this. No, not this. This. Let's watch here the latest creation by one of my favorite creators on YouTube.
How did the CIA and Mossad manage to track down the Iranian Supreme Leader's secret compound? It all started around 8 in the morning. CIA tracked some high-level Iranian leaders at this building right in the heart of Tehran. U.S. intelligence shared a critical tip with their Israeli...
By the way, I'll supplement this by telling you this. My producer did the research. The reason that the United States was able to kill Khamenei and his direct family and everyone who was assumed to take over the regime, and I'm not even fucking with you. And this is why countries like Iran can never win anything, because they're retarded, just like any third world country. Dude, I'm not shitting. I'm shitting on myself here, dude. I have the Venezuelan gene. Khamenei wanted all of his people, his family, his friends, the people in charge in with him at the compound, because he was planning this Monday to do a convoy of him to show force, because of they're actually doing repression. If you don't believe the official figures, they are doing repression in country of protesters, of terrorists, if you want to call them that. And they are struggling to keep a lid on the chaos over there. So he decided, we want to make everything look normal, so bring everyone here, and then we'll do a convoy on Monday. Which is what a moronic idiot of the lowest caliber would think. I confirmed this through Gemini. My producer did. It was like, yeah, that's literally the reason why. The reason was so he could do a show of force. The reason why in America, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, neither of them are under threat of assassination. You can say they are. I understand Full Hat's probably going to say they are, and that's fine. I don't think they are. And they are in separate states. But in Iran, the supreme leader, like, this is something Hugo Chavez would do. He would say something like, I have a saint that protects me, and bring his whole family together to do a convoy as a show of force. That's how you get fucked. Because you're fucking stupid. Let's continue.
Counterparts. For months, they've been quietly hacking into Iranian communication channels using Space Force low-orbit satellites. But pulling off a strike isn't that simple. In the first wave, they had to neutralize a larger number of Iran's anti-air defense systems. This critical step cleared the airspace for a massive strike force of around 200 Israeli jets. But this area is highly fortified, so how do you destroy a deeply buried target like this? Well, they use bunker busters. Their delayed fuses punch through deep concrete before detonating. This is part one. How exactly did Israel and the United States manage to assassinate one of the most heavily protected men on the planet? The answer? An unprecedented joint operation. For months, the CIA and elite Israeli units waged a shadowy intelligence war. Using a web of surveillance satellites, intercepted comms, and human spies, they mapped Ayatollah Khamenei's every move in absolute secrecy. Utilizing a sophisticated web of low-Earth orbit surveillance satellites, intercepted encrypted communications, and highly placed human assets deep within the regime, they painstakingly mapped.
How are you this vulnerable? You have to be a retard, man. How can they have you on human intelligence, your communications, and your satellite? How stupid. These guys have seen Israel kill every member of the leadership of Hezbollah in the past year. They saw that happen. They know how the Israelis work. And they still get infiltrated like this. This is retarded, man. I hate everything. It says the military got tired of hearing that we lost to a bunch of SAM people, so they had to flex on these military operations. They had to show us the beauty of our weapons.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's every movement, security protocol, and daily pattern. The vulnerability, the Pasteur Street Summit. The critical breakthrough came when American intelligence identified a fleeting yet massive vulnerability, the highly classified Morning Summit. Top-tier Iranian military commanders, security advisors, and political officials were converging on the heavily guarded Pasteur Street compound in the heart of central Tehran. Shielded by layers of urban infrastructure, elite guard details, and what they believed was an impenetrable umbrella of state-of-the-art air defenses. Like the homegrown Baver missiles as well, the S-400 radar system located all over the city.
You just saw them take out all the S-300s in Venezuela. You saw them take out every Shahed drone in Venezuela. You just saw them take out Chinese radar in Venezuela. And you're still counting on this.
Leadership gathered in a false sense of absolute security. Here comes part two. How many aircrafts were involved in taking out a single target? The focal point of the operation was Beit Rabari, Khamenei's highly secure official residence and centralized office compound located in the heart of downtown Tehran. While they used around 200 aircrafts, the localized strike on Beit Rabari was the anchor of a massive, flawlessly synchronized aerial campaign. Flew all the way from Israel with flying oil tankers, the largest military flyover in its history. The Israeli Air Force deployed an armada of approximately 200 fighter jets equipped with GPS bunker buster bombs. As stated, he was actually occupying a shallower subterranean facility, the free-falling guided bomb, which the IDF deployed as the munitions.
I hope that this is a lesson to any Second Amendment LARPers. You cannot defeat this. Listen, man, I love guns and everything, but I recognize that's personal defense against citizens or something like that. Like we are reaching levels of technological advancement. Now you are a total LARPer if you think the Second Amendment is real. That's why I don't subscribe to it. I just like guns. That's different. If you believe you can defeat this, you are a moron.
It easily pierced the earth and reinforced concrete, triggering a catastrophic collapse of the entire underground structure. According to leaked Israeli intelligence reports, exactly 30 heavy munitions were dropped directly onto the Supreme Leader's compound to guarantee total structural failure. Obliterating such targets relies on specialized bunker buster munitions equipped with delayed action fuses, allowing them to physically penetrate deep into the ground and concrete before detonating. As a dedicated specialized squadron delivered the 30 bunker busters directly to Khamenei's compound, the rest of the armada operated simultaneously across Iranian airspace. They dropped hundreds of munitions to cripple over 500 targets, instantly blinding critical air defenses.
Let me interrupt here because I keep seeing this. We are ahead of the curve on this channel. And by the way, that's why for anyone that joined late, this is literally a fog of war episode. What I mean by that, I'll make myself big so you can... this is a fog of war episode. Fog of war means that nothing that we see can be confirmed to be true. On the matrix of perfect information and no information, we are much nearer to no information, okay? I'm not going to gaslight you. I'm not going to tell you what's actually happening. We're Bajalardians at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter. What matters is a symbol, okay? I'm not gaslighting you. I'm not telling you something is happening if I don't know what's happening, okay? This is, I think I'm probably the only channel that is being this forthright with you, okay? So I would appreciate some appreciation on this. I do not know what's going on. You don't either, and neither do any of the talking heads you're watching know, but they're going to speak with certainty. I want you to take everything with a grain of salt as I am, all right? This is a fog of war episode. And, yeah, I lost my train of thought, but I just want to be clear on that, okay? Effer says, this clearly shows that just because a country supplies another country with anti-aircraft weapons, no matter how high-tech it is, it's simply hard to get competent using these tools. Yeah, I think Iran would have been better off using passenger pigeons and mice to carry messages. That might be more their speed. You might be right, Efra. These people, if I've learned anything here, is if it seems like the most elite Iranians, at least in this regime, maybe the ones abroad aren't, are quite literally retarded. They are people who are not intelligent. You don't know how to defend your country. You don't know how to stop anything. So you don't deserve... Oh, yeah, we have the IRGC that will bomb oil facilities. Wow, that's real 22nd century shit, dude. Like, that's crazy stuff. These people are retarded. And they deserve no clemency, no mercy, in my opinion, just on virtue of being this stupid. But yes, I agree, Efra. Now everything says, when the Chinese start doing this, then I'll start believing the Chinese century. Dude, me too, man. America's back, baby. It's back.
And neutralizing ballistic missile silos. Here comes part 3, and this is Iran's mistake. How the Iranian made a very big mistake to protect its leader. Because he was occupying a shallower subterranean facility, the deployed munitions...
Imagine being this retarded. I'm going to repeat that so you can watch. Imagine that. Imagine.
Because he was occupying a shallower subterranean facility.
You are under attack, retard. Why are you in the shallowest subterranean facility? Why? I don't understand, man. I don't understand how these people think. Maybe I'm becoming too American. I don't understand this. I don't get it. You are not Mexico. You are Iran. You are going to get killed, retard. Why are you in the lowest security? You might as well be walking around the street eating an ice cream cone in a Speedo, you fucking idiot.
The deployed munitions easily pierced the earth and reinforced concrete, triggering a catastrophic collapse of the entire underground structure. Intelligence sources later revealed a critical tactical flaw in his positioning. He was not sheltering in one of the compound's 2 deepest maximum security bunkers facilities that would have required the heaviest, highly specialized U.S. ordnance to crack. If he had switched places, he would have been at least safe. And here is part 4, how many were exactly killed. While the complete list of eliminated targets is still undergoing global intelligence assessment.
Imagine getting destroyed that badly. That we know we killed a ton of you, we just don't know who they all are.
Strike successfully decapitated Iran's operational leadership in a single devastating blow. Killed alongside Khamenei were top-tier military figures, most notably Major General Mohammad Papour, the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, and top national security advisor Ali Shamkhani. Tragically, the blast also claimed the lives of several of Khamenei's family members who were present. But the first wave with 200 jets and U.S. Tomahawk cruise missiles...
They say tragically because you have to. He got his family killed. I want to be clear with that. Khamenei got his family killed. And if you are that stupid, then you deserve it. Better them than us. You are retarded. You got your family killed. In epic fashion, he got his whole family murdered. Why didn't you just give up power then? What was the point of all this? What was the point of the Iranian Revolution? These people have a death wish. They have a death wish. This has to be a death wish. And I'm not trying to sound like, have you ever been? I'm not Douglas Murray, but this is a death cult. If you are this stupid, bro, if someone was threatening to nuke me, I would want my children as far away from me as possible. I want my parents as far away from me as possible. I want my wife as far away from me as possible. I want a bunch of cocaine, some hookers, and then we're going out in a blaze of glory, but everyone else for posterity, they got to go outside. But these people are this stupid.
Did not.
And Mr. Elu says Scott Ritter was saying he wanted to be martyred. Well, then that makes him even dumber. So he got martyred on an empty stomach, not even enjoying the last of his earthly pleasures because he was stupid. Motherfucker, there's no Lent, there's no Ramadan when they're going to nuke you.
Not just hit his compound. The U.S. cruise missiles was the one to take out anti-air defense system, while the 200 IDF jets took out the Iranian leadership. All in all, U.S. and Israeli forces struck approximately 2,900 targets across Iran, according to U.S. Central Command, in just one day. Reports suggest the CIA allegedly penetrated Iranian communications by bombarding them with spam calls, jump calls, and online breaches. This data doesn't just result in spam and scam attempts. It can also affect your insurance rates and ultimately...
They make good ads here. I like their ads. Funny.
Telly and get 60% off on an annual plan. But what weapon was used to penetrate layers of concrete? Well, they have this bunker buster bomb. It has a laser sensor at the front, and just behind that are adjustable fins. In the midsection, there is a warhead that weighs approximately 650 pounds containing tritonal explosive. This is a mixture of 80% TNT and 20% aluminum powder. Finally, we have the retractable fins at the rear. To give you a better sense of its size, comparing it to a person can be helpful. The casing has a length of approximately 19 feet long, which translates to around 5 meters. This section is made of an artillery barrel, which is very strong, and has a diameter of 14.5 inches, which translates to around 37 centimeters, making it relatively narrow. They intentionally made the smaller cross-sectional area. This means the bomb displaces less material, whether earth or concrete, as it penetrates layers of reinforced bunkers or building, thus allowing it to travel further to almost 100 meters. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 6-story residential building, complete with a solar paneled roof. However, there's more to this structure than meets the eye. What makes this building particularly noteworthy is its underground basement, which is rumored to contain a network of tunnels. These tunnels are believed to serve as emergency escape routes, adding to the site's strategic importance. We've put together a few different scenarios to help you better understand the IDF's assassination tactics. The CIA and IDF would employ spies and agents to gain information on a high-value target. With a clear line of sight, the operative waits for confirmation that the high-value target has arrived at the meeting point. This target reportedly arrived at underground headquarters in the southern suburbs for a meeting with several top leaders.
Why are you not in another city? Why aren't you somewhere else? Why aren't you on Kish Island, where there are foreigners, where there are people that they don't want to hit? Why are you over here? You would be safer in the mountains. Why are you still there? These are the dumbest people to have ever lived, man. Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi get a lot more credit after this. I never had an opinion on this Arab-Persian debate that they have, but the Arabs got the Persians beat on this, man. Their dictators have more sense of survival. Why aren't you in Russia? Yeah, exactly. Why are you in Tehran? Why? Zoom exists. You can remote work the Ayatollah thing. Why are you doing this?
The tip-off was allegedly received by Israeli officials on the afternoon of Saturday, September 27th. A fighter jet was expected to target and illuminate the building using its laser targeting pod, focusing on one of the specific buildings. Subsequently, a dozen of F-15 jets dropped not one but 80 bombs of various types. The tip of the spear would have been the bunker buster bomb that can penetrate through this 6-story building, leveling all 6 structures to the ground and in the process eliminating Hassan Nasrallah in the action. Let's consider scenario 2. If an Iranian spy had not assisted the IDF, a Mossad agent or soldier might have been nearby, confirming Nasrallah's location or possibly illuminating the target with a ground-based laser. In this case, GPS coordinates would have been transmitted to the IDF. Once ready, the F-15 jets would have dropped around 80 bombs of different types, leveling the entire 6-building complex. The reason for dropping so many bombs was to ensure the elimination of a high-value target like Hassan Nasrallah. Unfortunately, the collateral damage resulted in a significant number of innocent civilian casualties, a tragic cost associated with this operation. And finally, we have scenario 3, which is the most likely. Hacking Hezbollah's communication system for the last 5 years to intercept encrypted messages without deploying any agents into Lebanon.
You are retarded. Not only are they retarded, they funded even more retarded people in Lebanon, man. This, dude, if you ever believed in this, if you believed in the alternative Islamic world order, caliphate, you believe that look, it's okay to get conned. I've been conned before. But you have to admit it. These people do not vet people. They're not smart. These people are stupid, man. Everyone you hired was murdered, and then they got their comms, and now you're dead too. You are a caricature of a regime, dude. This is too stupid to live, man. Too stupid. And not too weird to die. Just stupid people.
Or Beirut. Upon learning that the Hezbollah leader had arrived at the building, an F-15 fighter jets flew and dropped barrage of bombs, eliminating the entire leadership inside the underground bunker. Out of the 80 bombs used, the IDF also deployed the Mark 82 weapon, the Bunker Buster, and the GBU-39, which were part of a purchase valued at around $3 billion from the US. Let's take a look at how this works. Step 1. First, a laser is used to illuminate the target, or GPS guidance is already assigned to it. Step 2. An F-15 jet flies near the illuminated target and the bomb is released.
Do you know how insulting it is that you got killed with an F-15? You didn't even get killed with an F-35, much less an F-22. You got killed with an Israeli, the F-15I. You got killed with a downgraded F-15. That's how you died? You got killed with 30-year-old technology, man. With nerfed 30-year-old technology. That is embarrassing.
Step 3. Once the bomb is dropped, the guidance system at the front connects with the tail and fins. This enables the bomb to make precise adjustments, guiding it accurately to its target. Step 4. As mentioned, this is a bunker buster bomb designed to penetrate around 6 meters of reinforced concrete bunkers and can travel up to 100 feet of soft ground or buildings. Step 5. In the past, The GBU-28 has been equipped with a delay fuse like this one, allowing it to detonate after penetrating its target, rather than exploding on impact. The bomb contains 700 pounds of TNT, which generates a blast radius of several hundred meters, quite significant for a bomb of this size. As an engineering channel, we will also look into how these Mark 80 and 82 series of weapon can be turned into a guided bomb. When released, it falls just like a normal dumb weapon. As stated, the bomb can be fitted with a nose fuse, a tail fuse, or both simultaneously. Upon hitting the ground, the frontal fuse activates, burning the fuse conduit from the front to the back, thus creating a huge explosion. The alternative option is using the tail fuse FMU-139. This is usually used for delayed action and is set by the pilot. When it hits the target, the weight of the bomb will penetrate the concrete surface of a building, the fuse activates, and the conduit rod, which creates the 500-pound explosion after a few seconds as programmed. This can create a lot of damage considering its small $4,000 price tag. We also made a deep dive into the sea, air, and land components of the nuclear triad, so subscribe.
I saw what Ephra said. Ephra's saying that, it's a little bit more complicated, and that's true. You don't want to do the F-35s because it could get too complicated, which is true, absolutely. However, Ephra, I will say, if I'm going to get killed, personally, if the military is after me, I don't want to be killed with the 1940s atomic bomb. I want the one from right now. There's some dignity in that. This is the most embarrassing moment in history, man. Like, for anyone, for Hassan, for Cenk Uygur, if he believes it, I never believed in BRICS. And you know why I never believed in BRICS? Because I don't believe in Brazil. We have a joke in Spanish about Brazil. Brazil is the country of the future, and it always will be. We have another joke that I've used. You use it against Argentina, Venezuela, whatever you want. But I'll tell it to you for Brazil. Okay. On the sixth day, just before he rested, okay, God was inspired. Something hit him like a bolt of lightning. He said, God damn, I have an idea. And he built the most beautiful country in the world. He gave it snow, desert, rivers, mud, trees, cattle, horses, beaches, rubber, everything. He gave it everything. The most beautiful country in the world. And he sat back right before he rested and he said, this isn't fair. This country is too beautiful. It won't be fair to the other ones. I have to do something to make it a little bit even. So what he did is he filled it with Brazilians. And that's Brazil. Okay? Brasil número uno. No, you're not, dude. You're a basket case of a country. And I know it's my Venezuelanness. That's BRICS is retarded. BRICS is, listen, man, when you look at Europe and the United States and Japan, when you look at these countries, they are all united under the principle of Western liberal democracy, under the principle of voting and all this stuff, right? That's cool. Okay? And you may say that's fake and gay. You may say that's not real. It is more real than Brazil, a democracy, India, the world's largest democracy, one a former Portuguese and one a former English colony, Russia, which was never a colony, that is an autocracy, China, which is a Marxist autocracy. I'm just giving you the propaganda or whatever, right? But let's be honest here. An authoritarian Marxist state. And South Africa, which is a basket case, retarded country that cannot get its shit together, that cannot even maintain what was given to it in terms of nuclear power. And these guys are getting together like the Avengers or something. And we're going to defeat the West. If you ever believed that, then you have either never met a Brazilian or you're retarded. Okay? This is the dumbest thing that you should be embarrassed. And this Iran thing, I know they weren't in BRICS, but they might as well have been, because BRICS feels ghetto and Iran feels ghetto. Okay? You feel like in the world of countries, okay, there are countries that feel like McMansions, like the United States. Then there's countries that feel like a cul-de-sac neighborhood, like in Western Europe. And then there are countries that feel a little bit like working class, like Latin America, a lot of them, like Guatemala or Mexico. And then there's countries that feel ghetto. And that's Russia, India, China, South Africa, Brazil, Iran. China, not as much. The other ones just feel ghetto, okay? You think of these are the ghetto countries of the world. Venezuela, one of my countries, feels ghetto. Chile doesn't. And pretty soon I'll be a Spanish citizen and I'll feel like a cul-de-sac. You accomplished getting a town of the ghettoest countries in the world together, plus China, and told me you were going to take over the world. As James Fishback says, you are from the ghetto and your ass will be put back into the ghetto by your superiors. And I'm not saying that they're better because of their race or anything. I'm saying they're better because they have an invisible plane. Okay, the Americans have a plane that, get this, it's invisible. And your countries are just ghetto. The retarded Avengers, that's what BRICS was. And that's what Iran is. Ghetto countries doing ghetto country things. A ghetto country like Iran says, I'm going to make a ghetto drone, but it's going to be cheap. It'll be cheap. We'll have 1 million of them. Well, guess what? The McMansion guy is trying to build the best drone. So you're going to lose every time because you are comfortable living in squalor. And everyone else, it's just, how do you explain this, man? I can't explain this to a Venezuelan. I can't. Even with my heritage, I can't. I can't relate it to them. Hey, it's ghetto that you have a National Guard that bullies people. Hey, it's ghetto that you beat women up for not wearing a hijab. I understand it may be part of the religion. The fact that you're comfortable advertising to the world that you're beating people up for this is ghetto. Some other countries do it in secret because they are refined. You think America doesn't do it? We have a whole colony in Cuba called Guantanamo where we torture people, but we're not proud of it. We don't put it on TV. I had everything says Trump just said we've sunk all of Iran's warships. Yeah, I saw that, man. I saw that. Only the Sumerian tech can beat us. What about North Korea? Says that for North Korea is at least smart. It's at least, maybe it's ghetto, but it's putting on the mask of a country that works. It's just so silly, man. Like I can't. I really can't say this, man. Like you if you're betting on these guys, man, you are dumb, man. You are dumb. You are dumb. Oh yeah, Brasil número 1. Eu amo Brasil. Brasil é o melhor país do mundo. Okay, have fun with that. Let's see how you end up. All right, let's go back to the boomer box, man. This is ridiculous, bro. We fucking terrible place. It's just ridiculous. What are they reporting? I wish they would report anything about, I don't know, the U.S. embassy in Riyadh being bombed. I saw European reports that it was empty. But apparently nowadays, it doesn't really matter if an embassy is bombed. Back in my day, when I was a kid, if an embassy got attacked, it really mattered. Nowadays, after Israel blew up the Persian embassy in Syria last year, I guess it doesn't matter if you bomb an embassy anymore. I guess it doesn't matter. Bro, fuck this shit, dude. Let's get over here. Let's I wanted to show you guys something, man. First, let's just refresh the page here and see what's going on. This is the best aggregator, but then I'm going to go to the regular Twitter. Bro, let's look at, oh my, dude, let's look at the boomer box here. Let's look what Alan Dershowitz had to say. Let's hear a little bit from Alan Dershowitz, famous friends of that financier. What's his name? Jeffrey Epstein.
So I think it's a day for celebration. It's interesting. Tonight is tomorrow night is the Jewish holiday of Purim, where the Jews had to survive a genocidal attempt by the Persian people, and the villain ultimately was killed along with. Of course, that biblical story was repeated in Tehran with the killing of the Ayatollah and, unfortunately, some members of his family as well. So I think it's
unfortunately, Alan, you're a good boy. What are you talking about? Unfortunately, you know that you're happy that happened, dude. Come on, man, Alan, come on. It repeated the Purim was when there was a massacre of Persians by Jews back in. My God, dude. Did I say they're bad at propaganda, or are they bad at propaganda, man? They're already making Trump 2028 edits.
I should be over all the butterflies.
I see a lot of people saying that Trump is not going to win the midterms now because of this. Let me tell you the truth here. Trump is now a wartime president. And maybe to Dave Smith, that doesn't mean much, because Dave Smith is a political genius, except when it counts, right? He's a wartime president. This is probably one of the smartest things you could do. And especially if we see more of these attacks, and you can say that they're the CIA. I don't care. I don't care, man. I know it looks sus. He's wearing a Property of Allah hoodie and shooting up Austin. And he's wearing an Iranian flag hoodie. Guess what? Go explain your schizo bullshit to the American public. Let's see how that works out. Go tell him, man. I tried to tell for a long time in my naive days that, man, some of the attacks in America were not really what we were told about. And guess what? Everyone just said, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, let's calm down, and you go away, and I'm going to go over here and enjoy my barbecue. I'm like, but don't you want to hear about the financing? No, they don't want to hear. But don't you want to hear about how they shot the brother of the Boston bomber in Orlando, actually in Florida? The FBI came in and... No, I don't want to hear about that, actually. I want to believe what the media said. That's fine. So you may think, oh, these false flags, these mass shootings, and maybe we get more of them, they're so ridiculous. Everyone's going to see right through them. All right, dude, go ask a boomer who killed JFK. Like, go ask him who did 9/11. I'm sure you're going to be very surprised with their answer. Go ask a Gen Xer. I don't know why I'm picking on boomers tonight. Go ask a Gen Xer. Go ask a millennial. Go ask your average Zoomer who killed JFK. Go ask your average Zoomer, your average guy who has a job making $50,000 a year. What is he thinking? If he's not listening to Candace Owens. Okay? So now he's a wartime president, and there are attacks on the homeland. There are attacks on Europe, on Cyprus, for now, by an evil empire, which is Iran, that is trying to destroy the world by shutting down trade. If you thought tariffs were bad, they're trying to stop oil from arriving to you. Okay? They are trying to stop the spice from flowing. The most important thing in the world, oil. You think your family heirloom, you think your son, your daughter is more important than the flow of oil? Guess what? You're wrong. Everyone would sacrifice your son, your daughter for oil to flow. And now we have a terrorist regime that is holding the world hostage, telling them that they are not going to allow oil to flow, that they are willing to allow the world to starve, to freeze to death, to die, because they want to remain in power for people that are so suicidal that they will take out their whole families with them. I'm sorry, dude. I don't see how this is a good look for Iran. And I'm not even siding with anyone here. This is analysis. You tell me if I'm off base in the chat. Tell me if I'm off base. How is that not beneficial to Trump? Everyone's falling in line. The news media is reporting the reality of the situation. You have to. I don't know what the counter narrative is. Okay. Let's watch a little bit Hispanic excellence. Let's watch Marco Rubio.
Field where they can hide behind, meaning there would come a point where they have so many conventional missiles, so many drones, and it can inflict so much damage that no one can do anything about their nuclear program. That is what they were trying to do, is put themselves in a place of immunity where the damage they could inflict on the region would be so high that no one can do anything about their nuclear program or their nuclear ambitions. They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month. They can build 100 of these a month, not to mention the thousands of one-way attack drones that they also have. They've been doing this for a very long time, and by the way, they've been doing it under sanction. You see the attacks they're conducting right now? They're attacking airports, they're attacking hotels, they're hitting not just military bases, they're attacking our embassies directly, they're attacking facilities that have nothing to do with war or with military, and that's a weakened Iran. That's in Iran despite years of sanction. Imagine a year from now, or a year and a half from now, the capabilities they would have to...
Do you see how desperate and insane you look like as a country when you bomb Oman? When you bomb the person who was just trying to help you out? And then the Secretary of State of a country that you feel unjustifiably attacked for gets to point that out to the world? You look like a crazy person. You look insane. You're bombing Dubai. You look like an insane person right now. You look like if we were at a bar and I'm hanging out with you and you're my friend and all of a sudden you start hitting people, you look insane. You look like a crazy person and I don't want to be anywhere near you. And if I'm not your friend, now I'm going to be really scared of you and try to get you down. That's what you look like when you do things like tell your military to bomb Oman. Oh, we didn't tell them. The Secretary of State of the United States of America is telling people that that's what happened. And that is the material reality. So you're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous country. You look like a bunch of thugs. And I see Stafford brings up something which is true. Well, I understand this opinion. You're saying that Israel starves people and Iran doesn't? But Stafford, I would ask you to consider the second and third order consequences of blocking the Strait of Hormuz, of attacking Saudi Aramco facilities, of attacking American facilities in Saudi Arabia. That does end up starving people. And I'm not saying whether Iran is justified or unjustified in doing that, Stafford. And I'm not taking anything away about about what Israel does. But when I see, personally, thinking selfishly myself, man, when I see a country that is bombing the most important oil producer in the world right now, the most mature, Aramco is a publicly traded company, and they're attacking them, I'm not comfortable with those people just because I know petroleum is the basis of everything. It is the basis of fertilizer, plastic, polyester, cutting down wood, everything. And these people are going to make life significantly more expensive for other people if they get their way. So that's what I see. I see Realist says U.S. is literally blocking oil from Cuba. Okay, what does that have to do with this, though? What does that have to do with this? What we're doing analysis here, man. That's literally what they would call whataboutism. That's cool. The whole world is looking at a country that is bombing the largest publicly traded oil company in the world. That is sanctioning. That is mining a strait that 75% of the oil of the world flows through. Okay, the United States, that's a separate issue. That has nothing to do with the perception that people are going to have of Iran when they go, oh shit, these people are fucking maniacs. Osama bin Laden didn't do anything this damaging to the oil sector. Does anyone want to live with that? China doesn't want to live with that. China's fucking pissed right now. China is pissed that Iran was this retarded. because that was their largest oil lifeline. Russia is pissed as well. India is probably pissed as well. The Arabs are pissed. The only people on Iran's side right now are marginal actors like Shiites in Bahrain. Their proxies like Hezbollah, which I wouldn't even call their proxies because I'm more fair than that. And who else? Who else is on their side? Cuba? Oh, yeah, great stuff. Cuba is really going to come to your help. So I just see it as a separate issue. Efra says, you're not wrong. Unfortunately, everyone will be affected by the actions of religious fanatics. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not really, this isn't up for debate in the eyes of average people. Average people are looking at a regime that is comfortable shutting down the world's most precious material with no alternative. We have no alternative to this. People don't understand how important petroleum is. We have no alternative to this. No alternative. Everything you buy, whether it's electric or gasoline powered, is determined by the price of that oil and by its ability to be transported. And we're going to sit here and watch some fucking idiots that are too stupid to not get their whole families killed cut off oil from us. If you want to die, Khomeini, with your family, that's fine. People in the United States, people in France, this is all over the world, dude. People in Nigeria, people in South Africa, people in Chile, they don't want to die because you have a suicidal mission, okay? No one wants to die because of this. That's you. That's you. But I understand what you're saying, Stufford. I'm not castigating you for this. I understand what you're saying. The way I see it, Iran is doing more to fight the PDF elites than anyone else. No. Look, you can have that opinion and that perspective. I'm not saying it's wrong, but the average person, the average person is economically minded. They're looking at their checkbook, and when oil hits a certain price, and when car prices go up because of this, and when food prices go up for this because we don't have fertilizer anymore, because they cannot allow petroleum to get here to fertilize, and a lot of people will say that fertilizer is poison. Maybe it is. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're still buying the same shit. When you can't get the Happy Meal box for your kid at McDonald's because there is petroleum in that box, and it takes something away from that child, people feel that. They feel that. So, I'm not trying to fight with anyone. I'm not telling you that your opinions are invalid. This is just analysis. But, it's just the way I see it, man.
To inflict damage on us. It's an unacceptable risk, especially in the hands of a regime that's run by radical clerics. The Ayatollah was a radical cleric. That entire regime is led by radical clerics who don't make geopolitical decisions. They make decisions on the basis of theology, their view of theology, which is an apocalyptic one. That has to be taken very seriously as well.
We're going to stop with Rubio there. That is essentially what I'm saying there. You get to look like a crazy person because you are willing to blow up the whole world's food supply, their food supply. You are willing to starve the world. This is the perception people will have. You are willing to starve the world so that you can remain in power another day. Some people might say the United States would do the same thing. Okay, but that's not what's being shown on the media. It's not. It's not. The 80-year curse thing is interesting, Sephard. I've read about that. What year is it exactly that's supposed to happen? 1948, so 2028? That's going to be interesting to watch, man. I want to see if it's true. And Mr. Elu brings up that the ideology of Christian Zionists is also an apocalyptic one. Absolutely, sir. But the thing is that
the Harrelson's own divine.
Yes, we got Fox News to load. Let's see what Fox News is doing. The only difference is that there is no Christian Zionist state. Like, there is no Christian Zionist state that actually is function. Are there any Christian Zionists that run a country? And I don't mean in Congress. Of course, we have them in America. But is there any country where the president, the intelligence apparatus is Christian Zionist? Because sure, we have the Zionist one, which is Israel, of course, which is obviously in self-interest. But Christian Zionists in particular, like you're saying, I know Christian Zionists are literally crazy people. And they want the world to end. They want to bring all the Jews into Israel so the world can end. But they're not in control. Like, no one really knows who they are. They're relegated to marginal positions like ambassador of Israel, like Mike Huckabee. So they don't have the actual power to do anything, because when you have a radical regime like I'll call it radical for purposes here. When you have a radical regime like Iran, they actually do have power, and they have military infrastructure, and they have scary shit to the rest of the world. So it's a matter of power. I mean, that's the way I would see it. Damn, this is cool. Look at the Fox News. What is this?
Skin permanently at Sono Bello.
I wanted the results of the tummy tuck, but not the downtime.
We've helped over 300,000 people transform.
Do you want that flat stomach? You go get that flat stomach.
Yes, those Republican women are getting loose skin with the Ozempic. Sono Bello. Hey, if you have loose skin, call Sono Bello. No, don't do that. We're not sponsored by Sono Bello on this channel. Oh, but also Pepto-Bismol. You can learn a lot from the ads of these channels too, man. The average Fox News viewer is probably either fat and they don't eat right, or they've lost a ton of weight. Gonna make an unfair assumption and say that they're swingers. They want to wear collared shirts. Yeah, this looks like a boomer, golfing shirt. You know, interesting stuff. This fucking sucks, dude. This fucking sucks. It's terrible. Oh, CNN. Let's do this. Finally. And they're covering the story only at midnight.
Intercepted so far, according to official figures. What you're hearing there is a security warning that played over the loudspeakers at the U.S. Embassy in Jordan. That embassy, one of the largest in the world, was evacuated due to an unspecified threat on Monday. Meanwhile, in Saudi Arabia, sources tell CNN, the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh was hit by two suspected Iranian.
First time we see this reported tonight at midnight when everyone's asleep.
In Iran, more than 700 civilians have been killed since the war began on Saturday. That's according to the latest figures from a U.S.-based human rights group. That number, though, could grow exponentially as President Trump tells CNN, quote, the big wave hasn't even happened. Here's what the president said earlier about what forced the U.S. to act now.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change.
Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has urged citizens to depart now from countries throughout the region due to serious safety risks. You see those countries' names right now on your screen. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issuing his own warning on Monday.
At the Department of State, our number one priority is the safety and the security of American citizens everywhere in the world. Now, with what's going on in the Middle East with Operation Epic Fury and the cowardly attacks that...
And again, reading between the lines, you are asking financiers, diplomats, engineers, American engineers, like important people to leave a valuable region in the world for American interest. That's what's resulting from this Iranian response. That's how most people are going to read it.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says one projectile managed to penetrate air defenses at the Tactical Operations Center. Source tells CNN the Sunday morning attack came without warning or sirens to alert troops to evacuate. Now, those casualties are the first Americans killed in action in Operation Epic Fury. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, called the service members the best that our nation has to offer. New CNN polling is giving us insight into how Americans are feeling about the war with Iran. You see it right there. Nearly 60% of Americans polled disapprove of the strikes. Let's break those numbers down right now by political affiliation. Not surprising here, nearly 80% of Republicans polled say they approve of the strikes. But look at that number. A majority of both independent...
Look at this, dude. Because I hear so much from Dave Smith and these other retards that Republicans don't approve. They approve. Look at this. And a 60-40 split is not bad for the country as a whole.
But first we go to Julia Benbrook, who comes to us live from Washington. Julia.
Well, people in the region are no doubt on high alert. The U.S. State Department is telling U.S. citizens to depart now from countries throughout.
All right, that's enough. Can you believe it? They're only reporting the real news, like what's actually happening, at midnight. At midnight. And again, with the same NPR Obama era hypnotic voice tone. Can you believe that? Like, if you don't see the importance of this, Rachel Maddow was talking about ICE. Okay? Abby Phillips was doing her little clown show with Cornel West. How you doing, brother? Brother, that was the clown show. We only get the real news at night when no one's watching. It's Monday. Everyone's asleep. Everyone has work tomorrow. Except for you guys. All right, everyone. Some great stuff tonight, man. We'll be back tomorrow. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe, guys. I'm telling you, man, we are, in terms of metrics, we are pretty close to finally getting new ties for the show. That'll make it more distinguishable. We just need a couple more subscribers to get there. I told you guys where it would be, but I'm not going to give you the inside scoop. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video. I appreciate everyone tuning in. And, yeah, dude, stay safe out there. Stay safe. Appreciate all the comments, man. I appreciate Schofield was, oh, nice. I didn't see you here. Schofield, long time no see. Afra, Mr. Elu, I hate everything. Stafford, Realist. Who else we had? We had John McGinley. Forehead, of course. Audio Vibes, of course. Mr. Elu. Spring, of course. Spring was here. Eames wasn't here. Advanced Conspiracy Theory, thank you for the donation, sir. I appreciate everyone tuning in, and keep getting updated, man. Keep figuring it out. We'll be back tomorrow, and we're probably going to keep talking about this. I might make a graphic because of the fog of war aspect. I don't want anyone here to believe anything or everything that is being told here in terms of the news. These people, or a lot of them, are full of shit, and this is not the time to have accurate information. I will see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you tuning in. See you. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Change the world. My final message. Goodbye.